Jeff Johnson, the developer of StopTheMadness Pro. This video is an introduction to StopTheMadness Pro on the Mac. StopTheMadness Pro is a universal purchase in the App Store for iPhone, iPad, and Mac. In this video, I'm going to focus on the Mac and look at iOS in a separate video. On this Mac, I've already purchased and downloaded StopTheMadness Pro. So in the App Store app, I'll press the open button to open it. I'll just close the App Store. This is the StopTheMadness Pro app in your applications folder. You probably won't need to use the app very much because most of the functionality of StopTheMadness Pro is in the extension in your web browsers. You would use the app to install StopTheMadness Pro in your web browsers, and there's some functionality such as the ability to export and import your settings to a file. The status here says not enabled in Safari, so the first thing we're going to do is enable StopTheMadness Pro in Safari. We'll press the Safari button. This opens the extension settings pane in Safari. And you can see here in the list of extensions, there's StopTheMadness Pro. You'll also see StopTheMadness Pro for web apps, and it says here do not enable in Safari. Enable only in Add to Dock web apps. So you want to be careful not to enable this, and I'll come back to web apps in a minute. But you just want to enable this one, StopTheMadness Pro, by clicking the checkbox in the sidebar. If you want to allow StopTheMadness Pro in private browsing windows, you can check this checkbox here. And the last thing you need to do is give StopTheMadness Pro permission to access websites. So you want to click Always Allow on every website and confirm your choice here. Now StopTheMadness Pro is enabled in Safari. You should then see the StopTheMadness Pro extension icon in the toolbar of every Safari window. And when you click the extension icon, it opens the StopTheMadness Pro extension pop-up window. Now let's look at Safari web apps, which I talked about a minute ago. The Safari web apps feature allows you to turn a website into a separate app in your dock. So I'm just going to load a website, CNN. And we'll turn that into a Safari web app. You open the File menu and select the Add to Dock command. And here you see the name of your app. I'm going to shorten it just to CNN and the URL, and we click Add. Now if you go down to the dock, you can see the CNN here. You have a new app in your dock. And we'll click that to open. Agree to the terms and conditions. Safari web apps have their own separate settings, which you can find here in the main menu. I'll select the settings. And you can see that the CNN web app also has an extension settings pane. And once again, here you see StopTheMadness Pro for web apps. This is where you want to enable this extension inside the web app. After you've enabled it, then you should once again see the StopTheMadness Pro extension icon in the window toolbar, and you click that to open the pop-up menu, or pop-up window. So that's Safari web apps. Let's look at the other web browsers. There's a Firefox extension, which you can install by clicking the Firefox button in the StopTheMadness Pro app. The Firefox extension requires what's called a native messaging host in order to communicate between the Firefox extension and the native code inside the StopTheMadness Pro app. This is necessary for saving your settings for on disk and also for iCloud sync especially. You can sync your StopTheMadness Pro settings between all your web browsers and all your devices, whether it's Mac, iPhone, iPad, Firefox, Chrome, Safari. They can all sync together with iCloud. but that requires the native messaging host. StopTheMadness Pro has automatically selected the appropriate folder in this panel for you, so all you need to do is press save to save the native messaging host file. And now it should automatically open open Firefox for you. And here's an install page with instructions. It says click to install the Firefox extension. So we'll just click that. And here it's asking you for your permission to install. And once again, if you want to allow StopTheMadness Pro in private windows, you can check that and click add. And it says StopTheMadness Pro is added. And in Firefox, you can pin the extension to the toolbar. And now you see the extension icon in the toolbar. You click that, and the extension pop-up window opens. So that's how you install in Firefox. And finally, we're going to install in Google Chrome by clicking the Google Chrome button in the StopTheMadness Pro app. Google Chrome extension also requires a native messaging host for the same reason, and StopTheMadness Pro has automatically selected the appropriate folder for you, so once again you just need to press save. Now here are additional instructions to install in Google Chrome. Open Google Chrome, open the extensions window, turn on developer mode, then drag this and drop it into Google Chrome. So I'll show you how that works. First, I'll open Google Chrome. Open the extensions window. Here you see the developer mode switch. Developer mode is required in Google Chrome because StopTheMadness Pro is not distributed in the Chrome Web Store. It's actually embedded inside the StopTheMadness Pro Mac App Store app. So whenever you update the app in the App Store, it automatically updates the Google Chrome extension as well. But to install extensions from outside the Chrome Web Store, you need developer mode. So that's why we need to enable that. Then we go back to the app and we click here to drag and we drop this into Google Chrome. And there we go. StopTheMadness Pro has been installed in Google Chrome. So here's the extensions widget in Google Chrome. If we click that, we can see StopTheMadness Pro has been installed. And here you can also pin StopTheMadness Pro to the toolbar. So you see the extension icon in the toolbar of the window, and click that, and it opens the extension pop-up window. So now we've installed StopTheMadness Pro in all the web browsers on this Mac. So we're done here. And we'll quit the app. We no longer need that, and the app does not need to run in order for StopTheMadness Pro to work because the extension is running inside the web browsers. For the rest of this video, I'm going to focus on Safari. So we'll open the window again for StopTheMadness Pro, and here you see a ton of different features. And you might become overwhelmed just looking at it because there are so many features. But if you ever have a question about the feature, if you're ever confused, there's a convenient little help button here. This says get help on the web for StopTheMadness Pro. So we'll click that help. And this opens the documentation for StopTheMadness Pro. Here it is, documentation. This particular page lists all the website options in StopTheMadness Pro. So every website option has its own little explanation that you can read if you'd like. The best place to get started in the window, trying to understand how StopTheMadness Pro works, is the website pop-up here. The current selection in the website pop-up is my default options for all websites. What that means is that any feature that you see enabled here in this window, the checkbox indicates that the feature is enabled, All of these features will apply to every website that you visit in Safari. And you can configure the options that are enabled and disabled. For example, you may want to show native video controls on all websites and stop auto-playing audio and video on all websites. And so once you've enabled these features, every website you visit in Safari will have these features enabled. Now you may want to customize your features for different websites, and you can do that. Let me open a website here, an example website. If you just want to exempt a certain website from Stop the Madness Pro, you don't want any of the features to be enabled on that website, you can do that quickly just by opening the pop-up actions button here and selecting exempt website. And this will exempt the currently open tab from Stop the Madness Pro. So we select exempt website, and here you can see some site-specific options have been automatically created for you. Example org, the same website that you see in the current tab. And you can see all of the options here have been disabled. Everything's disabled. So Stop the Madness Pro is exempted from this website, which is what we wanted. So that can be done quickly. But suppose you just want to tweak the options just a little bit on a website. Let's open a different website, apple.com. There's one thing that I really don't like about apple.com, and that's this. If you hover over these top links, it opens up this gigantic hover menu that covers up most of the page, and I find that very inconvenient. So we can actually stop this from happening with Stop the Madness Pro, and I'll show you how. Okay, so we'll open the extension pop-up here, and instead of exempt website, we're going to select add website. That allows you to configure the website. I mean, you can see here with the ellipsis at the end, it means there's more configuration to do, whereas exempt website is just click once and it's done. So click add website. And the domain of the website has been automatically filled in for you from the current tab. And here it says customize on platforms. This is very useful, for example, if you use iCloud Sync. Say you sync your Stop the Madness Pro settings to your iPhone and your iPad and your Mac. You can actually have different website options for the same website on different platforms. So you see the number of options here: Mac, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and so forth. This allows you to customize by platform. But here we're just going to leave it, for simplicity, we're going to leave it on all. The next thing you want to look at is the preset pop-up. All site-specific options are based on a specific preset. Here the preset is disable all options, which means all the options start out disabled. It's like a blank slate where you start off with no options enabled, and you can enable like one or two specific options that you want. But in this case, for apple.com, what we want to do is just tweak one option. So I'm going to go back to and select my default options for all websites. Now you can see here, if you look at these options and then you switch back to this, you can see they're exactly the same. So that's what the preset means. Apple.com is based on this preset, which means all the options here by default are the same as these. There's just one thing we want to change, and that's called protect mouse movement. And if you have any questions about any of these websites or any of these options, you can just hover over the option and there's a little tooltip you can see. This tooltip says stop websites from tracking the movement of your mouse. That's what we want here on apple.com. So we're going to enable that feature here. And this menu is kind of stuck right now, so I'm going to reload the page. There we go. Okay, so now when we hover over this top portion here, these links at the top, there's no more menu covering up the whole page. So we've stopped the madness by enabling that one feature. And if we go back, if we disable this feature and then go back, you can see the madness comes back. So we can see that's the feature we want. So we're going to enable that on apple.com. There are so many different features. I obviously am not going to have time to cover every single one of them. I'm just going to talk about a few interesting features, and you can always look at the documentation on the website to read about everything else. So let me look at the keyboard and menu tab. A very interesting feature is the ability to add custom contextual menu items to Safari's built-in contextual menu. For example, here's a contextual menu item, copy link title. So let's look at that. So here's a link in Safari. You can see the URL at the bottom. We'll open the contextual menu. Now, copy link is built into Safari, and that copies the URL of the link. But you can also see down here, there's an item that was added by StopTheMadness Pro, copy link title. So we'll just select that one. And what that does is, instead of copying the URL, it copies the title of the link. So let's see how that works. I'm going to open TextEdit app. I'll choose edit and paste, and there we go, TV and home. That's the same title as this link here. So we've copied the title of the link, and it was in the clipboard, and so you could paste it in another app. Another feature that I find extremely useful is the custom keyboard shortcuts for StopTheMadness Pro. Here's an example, copy link URL, Command C on hover. So Command C is the standard keyboard shortcut for copy. So let's hover over the same link again. And instead of opening the contextual menu, I'll press Command C on the keyboard. And you can see there's a little pop-up that appeared briefly to indicate that something happened, that it copied the URL. If we go back to TextEdit and we paste, and we see the URL of the link. So we got the URL of the link just by hovering over it and pressing the keyboard shortcut. We never had to open the contextual menu, so it's a lot faster. It's a very quick way of getting the URL of a link, which I like. It's very convenient. Tabs. There are a lot of websites that force links into a new tab when you click on them. So you can actually stop that. You can force links to open in the same tab instead of opening in a new tab. Or if you prefer, you can have all links open in a new tab if that's what you like, if that's how you like to browse the web. StopTheMadness Pro gives you the option to work around the workflow that you prefer. You can add your own CSS and JavaScript to websites. Let me do a quick example. I'll do some very simple CSS for all HTML div elements. We'll set the background color to, say, orange. And now you can see the divs here have been made orange. So you've added your own style to the web page. You can also add JavaScript. I'll do some very simple JavaScript. Window alert hi. And we'll only do that in the top frame. And here you can see an alert that says hi. So your own custom JavaScript is run in the web page. I'm going to delete that so we don't keep getting the hi alert. Another very popular feature is hide page element. That allows you to permanently hide things on web pages that you don't want to see. Let me go to a different website to show you an example of that. So here's ESPN. And here's a big banner advertisement at the top of ESPN. So say you want to get rid of that. So we open the extension pop-up. And here's this hide page element button. And you can see the tooltip says select an element to hide on the current web page. So we press this button to enter selection mode. And you can see the web page is dimmed a little bit. So the dimming indicates that it's in selection mode. So now you just click the thing that you want to hide. And here's StopTheMadness Pro has created a little pop-up here to let you select what to hide. And here in this menu are a list of CSS selectors. So the items are hidden by CSS. And there are various options that you can choose so you can hide just the right thing. And you may have to experiment. So if we go down here and select pane main, well, okay, that's wrong because it's hidden everything here, so that's too much. So let's pick add banner wrapper. That looks like a promising selection. So here you see the banner has gone. Let's go back and forth here. So here you see with this selection, the ad is gone, but there's still space here. But if you select down here, add banner wrapper, it's hidden not only the advertisement, but also the space that it took up. So we found what we want, so now we press hide. And now every time you visit ESPN, that banner will be hidden. And you can see if you select hidden here in the extension pop-up, you see this has been added automatically, ESPN add banner wrapper. And if you want, you can manually add your own. But it's usually easier to use the hide page element button. Redirects allows you to redirect from one URL to a different URL. For example, you may want to redirect YouTube URLs to some sort of open replacement for YouTube, and you can do that here. And there's documentation. You can see the documentation for that using the help button. The last thing I'll show you now is iCloud and how to enable iCloud sync. So we'll select the iCloud. And all you need to do to enable iCloud sync on all your devices is check this checkbox. And there you go. Successful sync. Okay, so note the time here, 2:47. So now let's go back here and just change something here. And then if we go back to iCloud, it says last sync time 248. So every time you change your settings in StopTheMadness Pro, it's automatically synced to iCloud. So that there's no other work that you need to do. Everything is automatically synced as long as this is checked. And if you want to turn off iCloud Sync, then you can just uncheck it here. And if we go to another web browser, go to Google Chrome, you open this up, and down at the bottom of here, this also has iCloud Sync. So we click this, iCloud Sync, and boom, it's now synced to Chrome too. And so if we look back up here, bypass link shorteners is disabled in Google Chrome, just like it was back in Safari. So all of your settings are synced between the various web browsers. And that's a brief introduction to StopTheMadness Pro on the Mac. Obviously, there are a lot more features to cover, and I encourage you to read the documentation. You don't need to do it all at once, but whenever you're interested in something, you can read. They each have their own web pages explaining the feature. And on the documentation, there's also a link to support. There are known issues, release notes, and there's a blog with news, and you can follow that from RSS. And if you ever have any problems with StopTheMadness Pro, you can email me. And that goes right into my mail app inbox. I personally handle all support, so there are no forms involved. There's no layers of bureaucracy. It's just me. And I also have a subreddit where you can post if you have questions there, and I'm on social media too. So I hope you found this introductory video useful, and thank you very much for watching.